and Views Productions is officially sponsored by Zan's Celebration Popcorn. Handcrafted with love in small batches, every single bag is a celebration. We now feature 11 delicious, sweet, and crunchy flavors, including our newest additions, pink cream and pink lemonade. Try them today with our $1 sample bags. To order, call or text us at 815-275-5468 or pay with ease on Cash App at hashtag ZandraBright1.
All right. So get that little bit out of the way. And before I get started into this show, I got a little disclaimer I need to read, and a little disclaimer so I can be protected here and everything can be protected with the show. So one quick reminder, this is live, you guys. I want conversation and everything, but keep that in mind. This is live. It's a live podcast and it is a public discussion. So anything shared in the comments or during the conversation that maybe it will become a part of the show. They say maybe, but it will, because it's recorded and it stays on our page for quite some time so people can share and go back. And I do want you guys to share your experiences, especially your point of views. That's what Voices and Views is about. Everybody got a voice and everybody got the right to share their views. So please protect your privacy and privacy of others. Try to avoid using personal names, addresses, workplaces. You guys know how to talk to let them know where you're at without personal information. So let's keep that out of there. Even though I got to remind myself, you can describe what happened, how it affected you, what you learned from the experience, what went down, all of that, without saying a name. You can say the person's position, all that, so on. Because this is a podcast, I also have the responsibility to protect everybody involved, including the people sharing their stories and the people we are going to discuss. So please keep your comments respectful, avoid accusations against identifiable individuals, and leave names and identifying details out of your stories. We want to hear your real experiences. I throw this in here because a lot of time when we talk about racism and everything, we always like to go back like it ain't happening now. We always like to go back 100 years. So um, I'm hoping people have some up-to-date stories and information to let people know what's going on now. So we do want the real experiences, your opinions are real conversation, while also being responsible for the stories that's shared. So thank you, and let's get into tonight. Welcome back, everybody. I do have a guest with me here in the studio trying to hide. I'm going to get you in there, Wendy. Get on over here. I don't bite unless you ask. Get on over here. There you go. So I do have a guest in the studio, and I do have a guest on screen. Kia, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, guys. Really mean a lot, because people have the tendency to kind of just shy away when I say, hey, you want to come on and talk about... But if I want to talk about some shoes or discuss something crazy, I have all kind of people want to come on. So let's get into it. Tonight's topic, racism. Dead, or is it live and well? So I want everybody to answer that part right quick while I remove this off my screen here. Everybody, if you want to answer that part right quick, do you think it's dead, or do you think it's live and well?
Alive and well and kicking. Ain't never left.
You kicking?
Oh,
So
ain't kicking.
what you say there, Wendy?
Racism has never died. It's embedded in the souls and minds of individuals who have no idea, in some sense of the word, how to walk in a shoe that they can't fit. And so it has never ended. In some instances, it has grown, and it's grown deeper.
That's
the
right.
difference is that it's now being exposed more often because of social media. People are
That
putting
means
it
it's
out there.
alive, you guys.
Yes, yes.
Alive and well. Okay. And we're not asking you to agree. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm asking you to talk with me. You know, everybody got their opinions and everything. So I want people to know that they have a voice. They can say, share their experiences and don't have to be afraid. You don't have to come in here and just look. And I look on the comments and then I get all these questions afterwards. You have the time right now to speak up. I do have some people that say they will join in because they do have something to share. So we'll see where they go. So everybody is, but disrespect is not welcome. You like I say, you can disagree all you want. So put your yes or no in the comments. We all say here, yes, very alive, live kicking.
Hmm.
Never stop jumping up and down partying. I'd
Yeah,
say that anybody who think that racism isn't alive, I don't know where they living.
under a rock.
I find it amusing that whenever a conversation, something happens, put it that way.
Hmm.
One of the things I see on the internet a lot is someone talking about why does race always play a part in everything, no matter what the situation is, no matter what has occurred. But what people fail to realize is that it is a part of everything.
So I want to put this out here then, because people probably don't even know. Because racism, there's all kind. What do we mean by racism? Okay, before we go any further, let's make sure we're talking about the same thing. Sometimes people get into an argument about racism before they even agree on what certain words mean. There's all type of racism. We hear words like prejudice, discrimination, stereotyping, racial biases. They're all connected, but they're not identical. What happened? I was like, what happened? Did something get kicked over there?
No, my feet are here.
Okay, prejudice is a negative opinion, feeling about someone based on their race before you really even know that person. Example, I don't trust people of that race. The individual has already been judged before even being known. Discrimination. Discrimination is treating somebody unfairly or differently because of their race. A qualified person is denied a job, a service, housing opportunity, or fair treatment, and that's just because of race. Stereotype. Stereotype is assuming that everybody in a racial group have the same traits, abilities, or behavior. Even a positive sounding stereotype can unfairly reduce an individual to a group assumption. There's racial bias. Racial bias is a preference or judgment that it can influence how we view or treat people of different races, sometimes without even realizing it. And an easy way to remember the difference is a stereotype is what we assume. Prejudice is what we believe or feel. Bias influences our judgment. Discrimination is unfair treatment, actually happens. And I'm glad that's highlighted because it actually happens. Racism can involve prejudice beliefs, racial discrimination, and broader practices or sex systems that produce racial inequality. Okay. So
Don't forget about bigot.
we can't forget about bigots because bigots jump into that pool all across. And when we say racist bias, yes, it's everywhere, but I can only speak on where I live. You know, I can't speak on somewhere else I went to visit. There might be an incident or something, but I can only speak on what I live. So, anybody got a story that they want to share? I know I have something that I'm going to share, but do anybody have a story
I,
that
I,
they want to share now?
I would like to say simply this. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we sometimes want to act as though or forget about the past issues. I have found in the 30 plus years that I've been doing the things that I've been doing is that I can't forget what my history is.
No.
I, uh, I know where I came from and who I came from.
Mm-hmm.
And other people don't. And so, based around some of the things that I say, I've been called racist. And I say simply this: when I explain to an individual how that could be virtually impossible where I'm concerned because of where I came from and who I came from and how I got here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I make it very clear that how I got here was based around slave rape.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My grandmother was whiter than the average white person with red hair. And my grandfather was jet black with straight hair, and they couldn't walk to town with each other because he would have been hung. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't live in the past, but I don't forget the past.
Yeah, and we should never forget the past. What do you think, Akia? You had something you want to share?
Oh yeah. What, my story? You want me to elaborate on what she said?
You can elaborate on what she said and share your story.
I definitely think that we should not ever forget about the past.
That's
The past always circles back to have a lot to do with the future, and the present, in every way. So that's that. So then, so to my most recent, there's been a lot of, I feel, racist things where we live. Um, as far as our growth and development in our segregated area, they try to contain us as much as they can. But that's becoming to be out of their hands. So they starting to show their true colors a little bit more now. We bringing it out of them. I feel. Um, but so we were down. My most recent experience was downtown at Tuddy Baker Days. I decided to go down there, where we hang at. Um, and this year, like we all said, it was more than enough. It was a mixed, diverse crowd. But I was going around trying to get people to go to the booth and register to vote with just register to vote, not Democrat or Republican. It don't matter. So I'm walking, I'm handing it out, being pleasant to everybody. Man, it was this big corn-fed looking, stocky white guy, right? I'm just pleasant. Hey, how you doing?
Mhm.
I said, hey, you want to register to vote? Are you registered to vote? Man, that man must have took his time, ju- adjust his body, put his chest out, bald head. He fit the stereotype. Let me say that. Uh, I'm already registered, and I'm a Republican. I mean, he said that shit with so much.
Feel like it was,
I mean,
like
like,
you wasn't asking him to vote a certain
right? I
party.
didn't say. I said that's
You
cool. I
just
said, all
saying
right, thank
register
you.
to vote.
Right. I just looked at him. I paused for a second because I knew right away, that
What it was.
was meant to be what it was,
Mm.
destined to be. So, and I told him, I said, well, thank you for being part of the solution. And I had to walk off. The old me wouldn't have walked off. But
Mhm.
I'll never forget that. You know what I mean? Because I knew exactly what he meant. But he had the audacity to say it with the charge he said. And that just lets us know, like, I mean, he probably was,
Like it was some power behind that when he
yeah,
said that.
it was really mixed back there. So, I mean, he probably felt like he was, on one. But it's just the way he said it. Like, oh, man, I wanted to. Like, are you seriously still there? You know what I'm saying? But
And
we
I
can't.
find that it's a lot of people still there.
Right, and that's why I was saying, like, we definitely can never forget, because as soon as we do, they catch us off guard, and then we the ones, get the raw end of the deal, or we act out, to what the stereotype is. Because that incident could have
Mhm.
brought so much of me out, but the God's still working on me, thank God, and that was the
Mhm.
change. But that's to the present form. They are around us everywhere, and like you say, everything we have to assume that everything is racial. It's sad, but it is. They only want us in certain areas. If we don't look right in certain areas, we don't look right doing certain things, because that's not what they're used to. The second we start to change up and show our creative side, oh man, that's when it really come out.
Problem.
That
Okay.
that's when it really come out.
I want you to understand the puffing of the chest and the attitude of the Republican.
Yeah,
You're a little bit younger than me.
for sure.
So back in the day when we had a newspaper, the Republicans in this town had the audacity to state in the newspaper that they
Hmm.
own, rule, and operate Freeport. So
Yeah.
what you got was is what they've been given all of their lives in regards to this town. You know, we talk about our experiences and the things that have happened with us. I grew up on the west side of Chicago.
Hmm.
I grew up in Lawndale. Lived there when
Mm.
King walked the streets in Lawndale, and when he went over to Cicero and got hit in the head with a brick. Okay, I lived in Garfield, West Garfield. Okay, when the police would come in Melody School's playground to beat the hell out of a black boy that was just playing
Mhm.
basketball. Okay. And the other half of my life, my summer days, were spent right down here in this town. And you can imagine what it was like, and I'm 67 years old in November, what it was like then. And there isn't a whole hell of a lot that has changed even now. I remember not being able to go into the Woolworths when the mall was
Mhm.
closed and you couldn't drive through Main Street. And it was done for the
Yeah.
purpose of keeping us out of the stores because my
Mhm.
grandparents could go into Woolworths. We played outside on the turtle that's sitting across the street
Mhm.
from the courthouse.
Mhm.
There's a turtle out there, the giraffe out there, all this
Mhm.
stuff out there, but we weren't allowed. I talked to our elders, and I find it to be really interesting to talk to an elder who has been here all their lives and that lives on Carroll and talk to me about his experiences living here and going trick or treating and not being able to trick or treat on Carroll, which was one of the reasons that I bought my first house in this town on Carroll because as a kid I couldn't walk down Carroll.
Yeah.
So there are experiences that I've had in this town, and
Mhm.
it goes beyond um, the Caucasian population
Mhm.
because we can be our worst enemies
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up.
when it comes to standing up for what is right.
Yes.
Prime example, I was on live recently talking about what has occurred in city council in regards to city council, the city of Freeport, its officials. And when I say officials, I'm talking about the mayor, I'm talking about the city manager, I'm talking about the chief of police, I'm talking about the community development director, but not so much her as the first three that I talked about, who are responsible for dealing with what the law says. And the law says that if there is no municipality can lock the doors of city hall or any government agency or building during a public meeting. So I specifically asked. I went down and spent some of my money, bought made copies for complaint forms to go to the attorney general in Springfield, and I'm gonna tell you, I got 5 bites. Now I'm gonna simply say this: if they have the nerve to lock the doors of City Hall, and they did it once, they'll do it again. And it just reminds me of when we were locked out of meetings. Period. When we didn't
Mhm.
have the opportunities to speak or to express ourselves or to sit at the tables. Well, now we're sitting at tables and they're scared. And one thing I want people to understand, I want the general public in Freeport, Illinois to understand that none of us have threatened anybody in the midst of our protests. And for those of you who believe that our protesting or our speaking at city council and being put out is wrong, we know what the rules are and they do too. Unfortunately, they don't apply to us equally.
That's right, because you know what? The Civil Rights Act of 64 was a landmark federal law, but it's supposed to prohibit discrimination. But my take on that, how can that really prohibit discrimination if people not willing to change their ways and they happy with discriminating? That's the way they've been brought up. That's the way they love. They think that gives them some sort of power. Then they got people in office that's getting them pumped up in their head, making them thinking they this and that. Well, I'm gonna share my story. okay, this happened recently and you guys know about it, but everybody else don't know. Right now, I'm getting ready to bring the heat. And when I say I'm getting ready to bring the heat, don't think because I'm quiet and not sit back that I don't be thinking about planning to do. What happened to my brother recently was out. It has to be paid for. Is all what I can say. My neighbor banged on my window, well, his window downstairs, asking him to come out. Okay, he just got in the door. When you hear somebody banging on part of your house, you're gonna go investigate. Went to investigate. Before he do, the guy just come up on and hit him, knocked him down on the ground. My brother's a senior citizen. He has a tumor, brain tumor. He get brain bleeds, and he has grandma seizures. Now, stuff like this triggers a seizure. He was about to have a seizure. This guy was on his chest, and I have pictures, videos on his chest, sitting on his chest with his knees choking him for way over 10 minutes because it took the cops that long to get there. When they got there, speaking of them, the dude was still on my brother, still choking him, had his hands like this for a while. You know what the law enforcement said? Get off of him. Now, let's play that another way. Let's say my brother was on top. Do you think they would have kindly just walk up and yell, get off of him? He would have been knocked over, tased, choked, probably shot if he act like he wanted to be froggish. You know, here it is. This young white man was able to do this to a senior citizen who has these medical health problems, and nothing was done. It took me getting a witness, and I thank you for responding when I called. It took me to get a witness to get somebody to come so they don't say it was all in my head, this didn't happen, that didn't happen. Oh no, you ain't gonna play that game because I knew there was wrong from the start. They didn't do anything to stay there almost an hour without arresting this man. He never even got handcuffed. Without arresting him, without doing anything until the sergeant was called. The sergeant was called. The sergeant told them to arrest him. And what I'm finding out and figuring out, only thing he got arrested for is being drunk. Not for trying to kill somebody, because that's what he was doing. He wasn't playing with him, choking him up under his neck and sitting on his chest and all that. That wasn't play. You came on my property and you did this. So I have a state claim on that too. Because this guy, we've been dealing with his mess for about 2 years now, and it's going to get pretty serious. But I sent emails. I sent emails to the chief. I sent an email to our city manager. I checked. I didn't get a response. I didn't even get a kiss my ass. I ain't helping you do nothing. I didn't get nothing. I would appreciate that. Okay. But, you know, whether you can do anything or not, you can say, hey, I can't do anything or whatever. And I just believe it how I'm doing. Because I'm not looking for anybody to do for me. I know the steps to take. I know what I can do. And I know what I've done before. And I know what I'm capable of now. Because my brother have gone to ER twice. This happened just Sunday. He had to go to ER the next day. He was out of it. Now today, he was going out there supposed to been working on this man's house. So his ride come to pick him up and he walking outside and he looks terrible. And he's walking real slow and he don't even acknowledge that I'm there. And that was really strange because he always acknowledge I'm there and, hey, I'm getting ready to go work or whatever. Nothing. He walked right past, connection lost, walk right past and nothing. I said, you know what? You don't look good. So Frankie called me. She goes, Sandra, I didn't know that was your brother. I seen this old man get out the car and he looked like he was about to fall and he was holding on. And I went over there and I said, Chris, this you all right? He said, I can't see for some reason. I can't see. I said, you can't see? Well, you got a brain tumor and have brain bleeds, and this man knocked you on your back on the concrete, and stayed on you all that time. And I can see in your eyes you about to have a seizure.
So let me ask you this: did you expect them to respond to your emails?
No, I really didn't.
And
I really, I just wanted proof that I did it.
well, basically, you wanted a trail.
Yeah, because I didn't
here's-
expect.
Here's what,
And that's sad, isn't
it
it?
is, because it wasn't going to happen. Now, here's the other thing. You're aware of what your rights are. You're aware of what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You're aware that he has filed a complaint or is pending a complaint or whatever. But there are a lot of people out there that aren't aware of what
People
it
are
is that
not
they're supposed to
aware
do.
of what they can do. You're right, because a lot of times people just sit back and chill. They don't know they have rights. They don't know they can speak up. And what happens when they don't speak up?
It's a vicious circle. So what I can honestly say to you that I've seen this town riled up. Let me put it this way. And in the 60s, after the King assassination, there was a protest march led by someone in town who was a teacher. Uh, she didn't start it, but she was the forefront, the first person to walk across that bridge. Now, mind you, back in the days, Leandra, the bridge leading from the east side over to downtown was not paved on the top where the cars go past. So the sidewalks were on both sides. But when you walked across that bridge, you had rushing waters
Going in there
underneath you, right? Which was scary. The individual I'm talking about was somewhere between the ages of 6 or 7 years old, with her white blouse, her white body socks, her black patent leather shoes, and her black skirt. That individual led the march. The next biggest event I would say happened in this town when George Floyd was killed. Now, mind you, we've had somewhere between, and I'm gonna just say this to you, it's been too many for me to even keep up with the numbers at this point. So I have to go back into my, I'd have to go back into my paperwork from when we brought the Department of Justice here. And what needs to be understood is the Department of Justice has been here twice. And anybody that knows that when the Department of Justice comes in here, they don't come in here right away. It took us 3.5 years to get the Justice Department here, walking the streets of Freeport, filing complaints in Washington, D.C., and with the national branch of the NAACP. And when they got here, and I said something earlier that I want to emphasize on, when I said that we are our worst enemies, each and every time that the Justice Department has been here, there has been a continuous meetings with them, but there has also been harassment from the department that was even supposed to be helping us. Okay? To the degree that you're sitting at a table, you've put your life on the line, you're down here in Ku Klux Klan land, and you've put all these white folks on Front Street by filing all these complaints. I watched the Freeport police beat someone in the driveway next door to me. And you know when they stopped? When they saw me, when I came out my back door. I watched this city during previous administrations leave a young black boy's body uncovered at the city cemetery because they were going to their boss's anniversary party. I can tell you things that some people in this town would never dare to speak on. Now, unfortunately, that's part of the problem.
Do you think race relations then are better today than they were when you're growing up, or what has improved or what has not improved?
Let me tell you the difference. In Chicago, if you were dealing with somebody that was racist, you knew it. If you got on a train and somebody was sitting there and they took that Tribune newspaper and spread it across both seats, you knew they didn't want you to sit next to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here in this town, it's always been a smile on your face and kiss your ass or kick your ass behind your back syndrome.
Hidden stuff.
Yes. And it's easier to detect somebody that is blatantly racist, biased, or bigot, or whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe to some degrees, Andrew, that every last one of us are prejudiced.
Mm-hmm. In some form of way.
Exactly. And not only are we prejudiced against the other races, we're prejudiced against each other.
Against each other.
Because my hair is curly.
And people don't realize that, though. And you said the magic thing there. People don't realize we're racist and prejudiced against our own selves. You know, they think that's, oh no, that can't be. I can't be. Oh, yes, it's been proven.
Well,
You know,
you
we
gotta go
do.
back to, but you gotta go back to where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go back to the separation of light skin, the dark skin, in-house
I was gonna say, you was judged by the tone of your blackness.
And even now, I mean, as a kid, my hair
and
was
still
down my
now,
back.
you
Yeah,
still judge if
oh,
you're too dark and certain things. Oh no.
Well, if you're too light,
oh
your hair
no,
too
they
long.
think you finna start a protest. You getting ready to be marching out.
I wanna go backwards. I wanna go backwards a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically,
and you guys make sure, you know, I want to hear your comments. I want to hear you in there. I can see when you respond, and please comment.
Last month, on the 6th of October, there was a disruption in the city council meeting.
Mm-hmm.
The disruption was based around the fact that an older man didn't follow procedure, and another older person was explaining.
I see you trying to get in here, but I don't see your video.
No,
Can
my
you hear
video's off. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good, as long as I can hear you.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
got the video on. I'm still working a little bit, but I want to.
Okay.
This is about an older trying to explain to another older man procedure that
Mm-hmm.
blew up into something bigger than it had to be based on what our mayor did. But at the same time, you have to understand that fear was shut that meeting down.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to tell people that nothing good has come out of anything if there isn't some type of protest about it if it's wrong.
And the word protest, people see that, get scared. It's you speaking up. Basically, that's what it means. You know, you got a cause, you got a reason you're there, and you using your voice to speak up. But I think sometimes we get afraid of that word, protest. I know some folks do. Okay. Some folks get word, you say protest. You could be saying, I want to protest because this sandwich almost killed me. If you hadn't got that out there and put that, if you mentioned protest to the wrong people, you will get a response.
So let's go back to what happened the next week.
What happened?
The next week, and I find this really interesting. I find it. I don't even know how to say this, but the next week, our city council and our administration locked the doors of City Hall. Now, I find it interesting who two of the people were that were locked out. One of whom is a sitting elected official, and the other one is one of their rivals, or should I say, opponents in the previous election, who is visibly disabled. I find it's interesting that the individual, one of the older persons who is speaking up, into something they're not accustomed to having, because any individuals who look like us that sit at those tables prior to them voted yes on everything that this city wants. Just like one of the ones that look like us votes yes on everything they want.
Okay.
Okay.
So tonight, I wanted tonight's show. You still there with us, guests? Is that your doggy?
Yeah,
Tell them he
it's
can have,
actually
or
somebody.
have their he or she can have their
His opinion
opinion.
too.
But I wanted tonight's show to include more than opinion, so I looked up some research because a lot of times people don't look up research.
Right.
In a 2025 Pew, I meant to say not P, Pew Research Center survey, 74% of Americans said Black people face at least some discrimination in the United States. When I read that, my take on that is it should have been a little higher, but I wasn't part. But
I
another
definitely
Pew,
agree with that. That definitely should be
hmm,
higher. I'm getting a little bit modest in there. That should be higher.
yeah, a little bit. That's what I thought. And listen to this. That's what I'm saying. Stuff is put out there to please sometime and to appease folks. Another Pew study found that 75% of Black adults said they had personal experience with racial discrimination, either on a regular basis or from time to time. 75%. What do you guys think of that? You think that's accurate?
That's a
I
little
don't
bit
think
more.
there's
That's a
any.
little bit more. That's a little bit more accurate than saying that we 75% don't, uh, or it's only
Only
75% that we see racist stuff. But I think that's a little bit more accurate than the first one.
I don't think it's accurate enough.
I think every Black
Yeah.
person in this world has experienced it
And that's what I was saying. I don't think it's accurate enough. I don't think that any
because
of us have.
whether they recognize it as that they have experienced it, especially they've been in this world um, amount of time, they have experienced it, and unfortunately, just because of who they are. Okay, listen to this. The FBI reported 11,679 hate crimes for 2024 among participating law enforcement agencies. Hate crime reporting includes several bias categories, including race, ethnicity, and ancestry. Statistics don't tell every individual story. See, that's what I'm saying. They do not mean every negative encounter between people of different races is racism, and it's not, but there is a majority. Sometimes somebody is rude because they're just simply rude. Sometimes bad service is just bad service. We should not label everything racism. So you guys tell me what you think on that little thing.
And first of all, come on. We know Karen when we see Karen. We know Karen when we hear
That's
Karen. We know attitude from Karen when we get attitude from Karen. And so that's ridiculous. It's just like saying that only 70+% of us have experienced racism. And there isn't one individual who looks like us, whether they be light, dark, red, or yellow, that has experienced some form of racism or has been treated or called something that their mother didn't name them. I remember distinctly the first time I was called a nigger, and I've been called a lot of things. Okay,
mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, the person that was calling me that didn't even know that they were the ones that was the nigger because they had no idea what that word actually meant.
Right.
You know,
Well, I know it happens, and I laugh, and it's not a funny story. Uh, my brother was in Walmart, and this wasn't that long ago. Little white boy walked up to him, and he just kept staring at him. And he was like, "Why does the boy keep staring at him?" You know what he said to him? "Are you a nigger?" And he wanted to know. He was just amazed because this is what he was taught. And my brother responded, "No, that's your dad over there." He said, "Yeah." He
Yeah.
said, "No, that's your dad. He's a nigger."
well,
But
you gotta look at the kids at
a
that
lot of
point.
that stuff is being taught. The kids are raised into that. Kid, you
There,
got a comment? 'Cause I'm gonna have to get read some comments here. I mean, some announcements. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You got a comment here? I'm gonna read some announcements right quick before I forget.
I'm saying talk on how
You kind of
Can't.
breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you breaking up. Okay, I'm gonna read a couple of announcements while you try to get that cleared out. Okay, I got a couple of community announcements, you guys, to read. As I said, if you send me your announcements, I would read them. I won't read everybody announcements. I'll read what you guys send me. Saturday, the 15th, that's tomorrow, at 10 to 4, Crate Park Art Walk. Don't have much about that. Well, here it is. What to expect. A day filled with creativity, inspiration, a marketplace to foster connections between artists and those who value unique handmade treasures. This is a 1 day art event for tomorrow, you guys, and that's Great Park, and that's 10 to 4. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, I believe.
It is.
Not sure.
It is.
Okay, the Freeport Minister Fellowship Alliance Barbershop Transformation. Free haircuts for the kids, you guys. And this is for boys ages 4 to 17. 11 East Main Street in Freeport. That's on Monday, August 17th. That's going to be from 10 to 6. First come, first serve. Spaces are limited. So you guys go and get your free haircut going back to school. Also coming up Saturday, August 22nd. This is sponsored by my organization, Operation Love Freeport. It's going to be at the Freeport Public Library from 11 to 3. Honoring seniors. I put on here 65 and over, but it's 60 and over. It's a picnic and bingo. Just appreciate our senior citizens and give them something to do. It's all free. The seating is limited. You have to call 275-5468. That's 815-275-5468. So I can put you on the list. Please don't wait too long because the event is next Saturday already. And we already have prizes, nice prizes for you guys, and everything is free. So you don't even have to pay for your bingo or anything. All right. Okay. It's the last one, Paint the Port 2026, Friday, August 28th. And that's from 4 to 8. I guess you go down to 22 East Exchange, grab a brush, claim your square, and help turn downtown Freeport into artwork. So there we have it. There it is. So I did get a call in here and kind of interrupted thing. I had a question. How do we acknowledge real racism without assuming racism is behind every negative interaction? And you were talking on that before I went on break. So you mind going back on that again? You were saying that we recognize it. You know, when we were saying it's asking here, how do we acknowledge that without just being negative, thinking this somebody just got a bad attitude?
Let me give you something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I think each and every last one of us, God has given us a God-given sense, and that God-given sense lets you know when somebody doesn't like you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to give you an example of that. I've been out here in the streets of Freeport, between Freeport, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Springfield for the past 30 plus years. I've worked on almost every major campaign that has put somebody in office that looks like us. But what people don't seem to understand is that, you know, an example I want to give you is an example of what somebody said to me not too long ago, even actually probably last year. The person heard me talking outside of their office wall, and they came around the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and they said to me, "Wendy, I need to tell you something." I said, "Okay, what is it?" They said, "When you first came here, we didn't like you."
I've been told that.
And my response was simply this: "And do you think I didn't know?" And then,
Mm-hmm.
did you think that I gave a damn?
Mm-hmm.
I said, so tell me why you didn't like me. Because you didn't know me. You had never had a one-on-one conversation with me. Had no idea what I've done in my life,
Mm-hmm.
where I've worked, where I've lived, nothing. But that's, so I'd like to know why. And their response to me was, is that we didn't understand what you were doing, but we do now. And we love you.
So
But
because they
let me
didn't
finish it. Let me
understand,
finish
right?
this. Even though that person said though that to me, what I said to
Mm-hmm.
them is, I have more respect for you now
Now, right.
than I've ever had for you.
Mm-hmm.
But that same person who realizes what has gone on in this town because they grew up here, they were born here, they were raised here, um, didn't still doesn't speak up and speak out.
Mm-hmm.
So what you were doing was hating on somebody that was out here telling the truth about what's happening in our community, to our community, and to our children, based around the city of Freeport, the police department, so forth and so on.
If you don't care about your community where you live, what's the point? I mean, you can't, a lot of people, they'll go out and they try to fix stuff in other communities over here and there, but they won't get involved in nothing in their own. They won't speak up, they won't stand together, they won't support, they won't volunteer, you know, and this stuff all around us here that can be fixed.
Well, there are a number of things, and there are things that we can do based around what laws are on the
And what
books.
about this when people say, well, I really don't see color?
How do you not see color? Nothing
Well,
is
I'm
black
saying
and white.
I'm standing in front of you.
But nothing is.
Everything is color unless you're
How do
colorblind.
you not
If
see
you're
it?
colorblind and you see color, when people say that, that kind of make me feel like, because I'm like, are you kidding? I see your color.
What
I
we
know you
don't
see
what we
mine.
don't see is people's hearts.
That's right.
Okay. What we don't see is
We
people's
need to
minds.
look beyond that
That's
color.
like saying, okay, for instance, and this is true. I cannot tell the difference between blue and black. I have a
Hmm.
condition called arteriosclerosis of the brain, right?
Well, that's different. Some people
So
have that.
I can't see those
Hmm.
colors, okay? But can anybody tell me that copper ain't red?
Yeah. So
Okay.
when people make that comment, I know they be trying to say what it says here. We can appreciate their differences, but people be trying to say something like, I understand what they're trying to communicate. They saying, I don't judge people by the color of their skin.
Mhm.
Well, I don't feel a person really have to say that if that's what's in their heart, because it was showing their actions. And I rather find that out in the way you treat me. If you keep on telling me that, it's gonna be a red flag.
Well, here's what
If
it
you
is.
keep saying to me, I don't see color and I don't treat you any
That's like saying I'm
differently,
not a racist.
and then I'm gonna say, oh my goodness, are you trying to convince yourself at this
Well, that's
point?
like saying I'm not a racist because you need to say it so that people will believe it, but then you know better because you are.
Right,
Anybody that has to continuously say it has a
right.
problem with them
But
themselves.
it's this. I don't need you, and I love this. I don't need you to pretend you can't see that I'm black. Just don't decide who I am because I am black. I don't need you to pretend that you can't
Unfortunately,
see I'm black. You can't pretend that I'm black and you can't see that I'm black because I'm standing right in front of you. I don't care what you got going in your head. You know I'm black.
people's actions show you exactly who they are, the manner in which they approach you,
What
treat you,
about
talk
when
to you.
they move their purse or something when you pass by?
Well, that's no different than them sitting on a train and spreading the treadmill across two
Oh
seats.
yeah, I've been in that situation on the train, and this guy just went,
Yep.
and I was like,
I
I
graduated
just
from.
looked at him. Are you serious,
Yeah, he
sir?
was
And I
serious.
was in Chicago,
Hmm.
and someone told me one time. They said, Xandra, well, you're not used to a town mix like this and everything. And while they were sitting there talking, I was looking like, boy, I like to knock you out right now. But I was sitting there thinking, you dodo, you dodo.
I graduated
I
from
mean,
Jones Commercial, which is
there
downtown.
wasn't white people in Chicago. You dodo. You know,
But see, the difference is white folks in Chicago let you know they was racist.
well, good evening. Let's see. We got Frankie in the house, and Frankie says, "Good evening to us." Good evening, Frankie. I saw you calling me and everything, but I couldn't answer
She
you.
called me too. She couldn't find it.
Oh, she couldn't find it?
She that's that she finally found it.
Oh, okay. And Scott, let's see what Scott
What's Scott's
say.
last name?
Stoden.
Yeah.
I believe, sadly, that racism is alive. Let me see if I can post some. I don't know why I'm having trouble posting stuff on here. And I hit show. I don't want to post your comment for some reason. Okay, there you are, Scott. Now I can't see it because the ticker is in the way. Okay, Scott. Scott says, I believe sadly that racism is alive nowadays, just like it was back in the day. We've come a long way, but we have so far to go. Remember that Jesus wasn't white or black. Ain't that mystifying?
Well,
Well,
that's not
I'm
what the
gonna
Bible
stop
says.
with there.
That's not what the Bible.
Yeah,
The Bible says that Jesus
but he
was
was
of
like,
dark skinned
yes,
and with of woolly hair. I don't know no white man that got woolly hair, unless he got a little black in him, or a
yeah.
little
They
Asian in him,
do
or a little
give
something in him.
that description of Jesus in the Bible, and it has been proven that those recent photos of him has been altered, and they even named the artist. People need to read their history. They even named the artist who they was using to depict Jesus all the time, and
Well,
they gave the model. Shall I
wait,
say
I
he
got
was a
one even better.
he
If
was a
we believe
model.
it, then we'd be looking at Trump as Jesus
He was
Christ.
a model, and they was using him from
Yeah.
way back when
Yeah.
to predict. So I go by reading, I go by knowledge, I go by. But I do like that people like to pretend sometimes, and I'm like, just be real. You don't have to like me. We don't have to all get along. It'll be perfect if we do. But people have the right to not like each other. But you do not have the right to dislike somebody on the color of their skin. If I go in there and I change my hair to blonde or something, which I'm thinking about doing, seriously, no comments. I don't expect nobody have the right to judge me or dislike me because I did that. Because first of all, they weren't at the store and I paid for it. Even if they did, it's going on my head, and I don't care if they like it or not. But that's just how racism crazy for somebody disliking you because of your skin tone. How come they don't dislike you because of the color of your shoes? You wear
Well, wait
black.
a minute now. Come on.
Do they dislike you because of the color of your shoes?
Y'all can't
Oh,
dislike these. What's up with
well,
y'all?
look, I can't stand it because you wear that color. I don't like that color. And isn't that just as crazy as somebody's skin color? I never understood it. I understood the history of it, where it came from, how stupid people were. That's all it made me realize is that way back then, people were just as stupid as are now in today's situations because they still stand by racism. They still promote racism. They still thinking, oh, that they ain't gonna have to answer for that.
There's something that I'd like to say to your audience, uh, and this is pertaining to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the next couple of weeks, you're going to hear something from me that right now I can't talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to tell you why I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it because I'm waiting for FOIDs.
Mm-hmm.
I've requested FOIDs from the Freeport Police Department. And once I get those FOIDs, I'm going to expose this whole situation that occurred with me. Now, I can honestly say to you this: I've told a number of people what happened with me. Um, and I'm going to say this to you: it's one of those situations where, under any normal situation, if you got stopped by the police for a traffic stop, it would be a normal traffic stop. But in my case, this information was said to me by a top official in this town, And what it did was reminded me of what happened or what happens and probably still is happening in the city of Chicago,
Yeah.
where the police would say that you are a threat. Okay. Now, I'm just going to say to you that honestly, and I truly believe this, when this is put out there on an individual and it's put across the wires, if that person is stopped by the police, they're not going to come to you like a normal traffic stop. They're going to come to you with gun blazing.
Mhm.
Okay. So as soon as I get the Floyds, and if they don't give me what I'm looking for from them, I'm going to stand before the city council and I'm going to say it to the whole entire town. So sit back and wait. Don't make any guesses behind this because I will tell you soon enough as to what I'm talking about.
And don't ask me because I don't know.
And if she
So
did, she wouldn't tell you anyway.
that's right.
So,
Privacy and all of that stuff. I don't want to share,
but
and I don't share nobody's stuff till they tell
I
me
will say this.
to share.
I will say this. I talked about the open meeting act that was violated by the city of Freeport. I think that a lot of people are afraid to complain about what is happening in this town. But in regards to this Open Meetings Act complaint, your name isn't given to the city when they're starting to be investigated based around what happened in this town. So they don't tell the city who's filed the complaints. But what I'm going to say to you and to any of you that are listening, I'm not afraid, okay? And I'm going to tell you that, yes, I have filed a complaint with, let me put it this way, I've sent it in the mail with the Attorney General in Springfield based around the breaking of laws in the city of Freeport. And I encourage anybody that isn't afraid or isn't afraid of retaliation that they do the same. You know, what has to happen is that we have 60 days to get these things filed. When at the end of anything that's happening this month, we'll go into a next phase of complaints if there's anything to complain about. But again, I'm asking if you're interested in filing a complaint, please let me know. I'll get you the paperwork and I'll help you to fill it out as far as dates and times and things of that nature is concerned. But it's vitally important that we start opening our mouths up Freeport, not only about what is happening in city council, but what is happening in the Democratic Party, what is happening in at the nursing home, what is happening with pedophiles in this town, what is happening with the closing or canceling of school bus for children that are in grade school.
Okay, guys. Now we're gotta wrap it up here.
Let me finish this though.
Okay.
Specifically, Black Hawk and Center School, the bus
No
services
names.
have been stripped of their bus riding privileges. Now, mind you, this winter it's going to be dark outside.
Early.
Kindergartners don't need to be walking to school in the dark.
I always have to protect a little one out there for his bus. I said, now what's this little baby out here? It's pitch black. You can barely see him, and he be standing out there waiting on his bus. I don't know where he came from. I always make him come back, stand back in front of the house, and I be sitting there because I wake up super early, and I be sitting there watching. That shouldn't be. So, you guys, we got to wrap things up here. So, back to the original question: racism, dead or alive? Is it alive and well? Okay, you guys never answered that at the beginning. Is it mostly a thing of the past? These are things for you to think about now. You can answer them later. Is it still alive but much less powerful than it once was? Is it live and still a serious problem? Is it something more complicated than any of those choices? If so, put it in the message. Tonight wasn't about solving racism in 60 minutes. If we could do that, we need to bottle this show and send it to Washington if we could. Tonight was about conversation. It was about listening. It was about understanding that two people can live in the same country, in the same city, maybe on the same street, and experience the world very differently. Your experience doesn't cancel mine, and mine don't cancel yours. But when we listen to each other experiences, maybe we understand our community a little bit better. Racism has a history, you guys. We can't change that history. But what happens next isn't completely out of our hands. Every time we decide how we're going to treat another human being, we're writing a tiny piece of what comes next. So whether you believe racism is dead, dying, alive, and well, or somewhere in between, I hope tonight made you think. I hope something made you ask a question. And most importantly, I hope something made you listen. Thank you, everybody who shared your stories tonight and who made your comments. Thank you for the people came in, and thank you for joining us, Akia. I know you left, and yes, our guests. Thank you for our guests. Thank you for being here, Wendy,
Anytime.
for holding this show with me and sharing your experiences and stuff. Different voices, different views, though, but we on one conversation. I'm Zan. This has been Voices and Views. Good night, everybody, and we will be back on Monday. Yes, Monday. Marcus will be back.
Voices and Views Productions is officially sponsored by Zan's Celebration Popcorn. Handcrafted with love in small batches, every single bag is a celebration. We now feature 11 delicious, sweet, and crunchy flavors, including our newest additions, pink cream and pink lemonade. Try them today with our $1 sample bags. To order, call or text us at 815-275-5468 or pay with ease on Cash App at #.